Hollywood lost World War woke. Amazon torches credibility with the rings of power. Netflix is now confused, and Warner Brothers Discovery is ready to kiss and make up with your wallet. We only got two players left. That's CW and Disney, and they've already declared they're going down with the USS agenda. Anti-joy cinema is dying. So take heart. The ancient rules of the world still apply. Money talks and bullshit walks. We pay to be entertained, not to be lectured to by battalions of beta males doing their best Greta Thunberg impersonations alongside a high-maintenance mob of furry fourth-wave radical feminists who are trying to impress an audience of celebrity sex dolls. Woke doesn't work. And Amazon Prime's Rings of Power is the perfect example to understand why. Welcome, Slayer Nation. I hope all of you are having a phenomenal weekend, my friends. Prime, everyone at the studio is going crazy, trying to understand why the mainstream press is attacking them. Because there's blood in the water, you fools. It's simple. When you have a budget monster like Rings and it fails, all the knives come out. And that tingling, uncomfortable sensation at the bottom of your pants, those are the sharks pulling their pound of flesh. Welcome to Hollywood, Jeff.
My grandfather is the one who introduced me to Tolkien. I fell in love immediately. I was probably 13 or 14 years old. I fell in love with the adventure, of course, with the detailed universe. Bullshit.
God, that just gives me the feels. You know that J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay probably worked on that script for a week. Maybe, Jeff, just maybe, if Rings had been half as phony as the story that you relayed to the audience about your grandfather, you know, if it was real, the one you should have pulled from your memory and remembered instead of reading off of your cell phone teleprompter, maybe things would have been much better. What do you think of that?
One of the very best decisions we made was to bet on this relatively unknown team. Some people even questioned our choice, but we saw something special. JD, Patrick, thank you for taking this on and putting your whole selves into it.
So we're back to touting J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay as wonderkins. Okay, yeah, they are wonderful.
And from the beginning, we knew that it would be very important to us to stay as close to Tolkien as possible. We started every single day of our writer's room reading a quote from Tolkien, spending time in the text, thinking about it, talking about it, trying to make sure we were staying in tune with it. At the same time, we knew that in any adaptation, there's going to be things you need to do to translate one medium.
Yeah, I know. You talk about it every day, JD, that y'all every day on the set would start with a quote from Tolkien. That's wonderful. Again, great. But let me give you a piece of advice, buddy. Pal of mine. The next job that you go to, make sure you understand the source material. For Amazon's Rings of Recycled Family, you should have understood Tolkien's beloved legendarium because some things just don't translate well from pop-up books.
La prima scena rappresenta l'arrivo dei 13 nani, capitanati da Thorin Scudo di Quercia a casa di Bilbo Baggins. Nella parte sinistra, chiusa da una simpatica serratura, c'è la porta, dalla quale fa il proprio ingresso Gandalf. Porta che a dire il vero dovrebbe essere rotonda. Subito sotto anche la rovinosa entrata di Thorin, sommerso dall'ultimo gruppetto di nani.
I'm not known for my brevity, so give me a second to think about that. Determination and hope. I don't think that a story like this could have been told even 10 years ago, certainly not 20 years ago.
You just said that Tolkien couldn't have been made over the last 10 to 20 years. I'm sorry. Will you look at the screen? Do you see that? That's like a man who about 20 years ago, you might know him, named Peter Jackson. He made the Lord of the Rings series. You can see that the Bobbsey twins were hired by Prime because the studio went woke. And woke is a violation of human nature. Woke is a lie, and one cannot craft art from a lie. And one of the primary reasons Rings failed is because the production staff could not get in front of their own ideology. And that's why right now, Amazon is having to bribe viewers in Brazil in order to watch their show. You see that? That's from Amazon Brazil. And thank God for Sindek, my good brother and best friend. He translated. What it basically says is if you've never had a subscription to Amazon Prime, you would go subscribe it. I'm not telling you, I'm just saying what they're saying. And then if you've never watched Rings of Power and it's your very first watch, you're going to watch it. Then they're going to give you a serial number, and that's going to give you a coupon for 30 reals, which you can exchange for food from one app. But woke didn't start here. It started a long time ago.
All of those who think that third parties ought to be making people's decisions for them. The subtitle is Self-Congratulation as a Basis for Social Policy. In other words, people who think that everything that's wrong with the country is due to the fact that other people are just not as smart as they are. And if only they could, or people like them could take over and make our decisions, we'd be so much better off.
Thomas Sowell is a national treasure. So is a genius of a man with a gem of a mind who understood way back in 1995 that Hollywood wanted to transform itself from being a kingdom of court jesters that entertain people in 2-hour blocks and one season at a time into a kabuki theater run by Stairmaster queens who wanted to create productions that were rally cries for the participation trophy generation. They wanted to mold all those minds and create bots for themselves. But how would they do it? They would tackle it like a movie, creating boogeymen for every occasion and victims for every imagined slide. That was their recipe for woke in a box. You get a victim, a villain, and a victor. And then Hollywood thought that would make box office gold and give them total cultural control. Except they had one issue, one problem. You were a roadblock in the way, and they still needed your money to fund their fanaticism. So that started a race. How fast could they replace the fans who built their kingdoms with the hashtag heroes who sold hot air before they went bankrupt? Not really working out too well for them. It's only lasted a little while.
The climate pledge is to meet the goals of the Paris Agreement 10 years early. Amazon becomes the first signatory to the climate pledge. We want to use our scale and our scope to lead the way.
See, Prime made a lot of promises around the world besides anything having to do with their production house. They promised the green environmental groups that they would take care of the planet. It seems that they didn't do too good of a job. They thought if Ring sided with radicals, again, they'd be gold, not understanding what a radical is. Workers accuse Amazon's Rings of Power of environmental damage in New Zealand. Naughty, naughty, Jeff. Amazon's new hit show, The Lord of the Rings of Power. Whoa, hold on there. Gizmodo's trying to pull a fast one, so we're going to have to set the record straight. Rings of Recycled Fantasy is not a hit. I don't know what you're trying to do there, Gizmodo, but I'm going to have to correct you with AV. Nielsen says House of the Dragon picked up more streaming momentum than Rings of Power. Okay, starting to feel better. One more to Amazon's glass jaw. Namely, the streaming viewership of Rings of Power fell off pretty strongly after its first 2 weeks of availability, while viewers for House of the Dragon tended to go up. Okay, feeling better. Facts have no agenda. They're out there, and no more of this fool's gold from Gizmodo. Maybe you should stop practicing journalism, guys. No more lies, just truth. Amazon's new hit show, The Lord of the Rings of Power, brought viewers back to the gorgeous world of Middle-earth, once again filmed in New Zealand. But the country's pristine landscape may be suffering under this production, and others, as workers speaking to The Guardian, describe vast waste and a lack of care for the local environment. Now, I hope for Amazon's sake that PETA doesn't get wind of this, or else it's going to confiscate their CGI dragons and arrest all their special effects crew for abusing animated creatures. What are y'all doing, Prime? Didn't y'all win a PG&E award in 2018 for being the environmental leaders for a green environment in California? You're going to have to give back the award. Go ahead. To create sets, the Rings of Power production crews built large fake environments using plastics, which were later discarded. Leaked internal communications show how the environmental team struggled with just how much stuff was thrown away. The Guardian reported that internal communications from July 2021 noted that the show had already produced enough waste to fill about 4.5 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Another internal memo described how production had created 390 tons of landfill waste. We don't have to read any more. Let me tell you, Amazon responded. They didn't, share everything. But what they basically said is, hey, we talked to our crew. They were drinking bottled water. We even got them to eat vegetarian once a week so we could help with the environment. And we had electric car charging stations there. That's what the Amazon, PR rep said. See, the problem here is all of this happened because of a philosophy. It's the philosophy of woke, and now we're getting really to the juicy stuff. Woke entertainment fails because, one, it lacks credibility. Everything that you see ends up feeling inauthentic and therefore laughable. It's like the showrunner saying, we know Tolkien inside and out. We've studied him. We send cards and Christmas cards and birthday cards, eulogies written in cinder and in Tengwar. But then when you see it on screen, you hear about the medical cure-all Mithril, which is a rock that shines a light, which helps the elves stay immortal, instead of it coming from Eru, the one God who gave it to them. See? Laughable. It doesn't hold together. Then they relay all their agenda messages through stereotypes, diverse stereotypes. And that starts ending up being more like preaching instead of an entertaining, fun show. It comes across as homework. See? Dear racist Hollywood, all human beings are alike. You tickle us, we're going to laugh. You prick us, we're going to bleed. But we want to watch story, not see something based on skin content. It's kind of condescending, don't you think? And one of the biggest problems with woke entertainment is that there's never any humor. They always take themselves way too seriously. You always got to laugh a little bit. But the biggest problems with Rings of Recycled Fantasy is you had bad production, bad directing, and bad writing. The showrunners thought that they knew more than the professor. You had the directors who thought that they could replace emotions and drama with CGI. And you had the writers who learned their craft from TikTokers with Tourette's. At the end of the day, what do you have? No one produced Tolkien's second age story. It was more like a woke game of Clue. Did JD in the pantry realize and share with everyone his elvish poem? Or was it all in the boardroom with Jennifer Salke and her DEI policies? See, if woke entertainment was successful, that would mean the majority of the people would love it. And there would be nothing we could do to get rid of it. But the reality is that Hollywood does not have the power that they think they do. They try to show like they're the big guys. They're the king of the clown show. But it's always in your control. It's your dollars which dictate. You have the power. You withdraw those dollars, they wither and die. As always, remember, get out there, lead by example, and let them hear you roar. We never bow down, we never bend the knee. Firmly defiant, step up, stand tall, and get busy living your best life now, always forward.